It was a change in pace last time out at Fairbury as William Hargraves was finally able to put a stop to Brandon Proudfoot's winning streak. But with Proudfoot able to finish ahead of his title rival Billy Northcutt and Johnny Ratley unable to attend, the driver of the number 22 was able to stretch his points lead in the championship. With only 3 races to go after tonight's event, the recrowning of the multi-time champion seems almost inevitable. But with tonight's visit to one of iRacing's oldest dirt tracks, it could serve to shake up that championship order. Welcome everyone to this round 8 of the Bootleg Racing League's Dirt Street Stock Series presented by Gargamel's Kitchen. We are here tonight at the Lanier Raceplex in Brazelton, Georgia. My name is DJ Clark, and on behalf of the Virtual Grip Network, my partner here in the booth, Austin Belke, and our director behind the scenes, Daniel Hardover, as well as everyone on the VGDN team, we'd like to thank you for joining us here tonight. Lanier is a track that has been around for a long time on the service, but it still manages to throw up challenges for the drivers week in and week out. Austin, what can you tell us about this racetrack?
Hey DJ, this place is 3/8 of a mile in non-freedom units. That's going to be 0.6 kilometers. This place was opened up in 1982 as dirt originally, and it was paved in 1987. Pretty low banking here, so expect the low line to be dominant, but you can kind of pinch on top. Might see some guys running up high.
Well, we'll have to check that out and see what it has in store. But before we get to the action on track, we would like to thank our sponsor for tonight's event, Gargamel's Kitchen. Gargamel's Kitchen is a food-grade nitrous oxide provider located in Denver, Colorado, and a proud sponsor of the Bootleg Racing League. Visit their office at 2045 South Valencia Street or give them a call at 720-707-6178. Now, as I mentioned, despite not winning the race last time out, Brandon Proudfoot was able to extend his championship lead over Northcutt and Ratley. He now holds a relatively commanding lead in that three-way fight for that title spot. Well, it's getting harder and harder for Northcutt and Ratley to close in. There you can see it on your screen. Proudfoot holding by about 50 points or so over Ratley. Now, the one thing that may enter into the equation is I talked to Brandon Proudfoot earlier tonight, and he's going to be coming in hot to this race. He may not even make practice and may have to qualify. Outside of that, the battle for P4 remains incredibly tight with Shepard, Hargraves, and Best all within striking distance. But, Austin, in order for us to figure out how this championship is going to play out, we've got to figure out how tonight's event's going to go. So what can you tell our audience about tonight's race details?
Yeah, that's right, DJ. Typical dirt track racing style. This is going to be heats. We're going to have 6 laps of 6 cars each. The top 2 transfer, the rest are going to go to the B main. The field is not inverted for those. The B main is going to be 8 laps. From there, we're going to take as many cars as we need to fill out the 18-car field for the feature event, which is 40 laps. You can score points in the qualifying, the heats, the B main, and the feature. And we're going to talk about it in a minute here. I'm sure the track state's going to start at 0%, and then it carries on throughout the rest of the race and the night's events. Cautions are in the feature event only, and caution laps aren't going to count. Within 10 laps to go, we go to single file restarts. DJ?
And that has played into effect a couple of times, those single file restarts, but drivers are out on track right now for a 20-minute practice session. And leading the top of that list, well, it's Jim Revis right now. Billy Northcutt is in second, very, very close behind him, as Chris Davis there, who is on your screen, runs around in fourth, says Castle ahead of him. Todd Liston is fifth. A couple of surprises, J.R. Shepard only able to manage 7th here, and Hargraves all the way down in 14th.
Yeah, like I said, though, track state starts at 0%, and then it's going to continue to get rubbered in as we go on throughout the event here, folks. You can see where that rubber has already started to get laid down on the very inside where it's the darker color. That's rubber being put down into the track. There's less grip there, so you can see if you can really hold it against the inside wall, like Bobby Hayes is in that 13 car just out of frame. That's the inside. You can really get a lot of speed down there, but it's very hard to do that. You might bounce a car off the inside wall, or you can do what John Wilson's doing right behind Bobby here. He's just riding the outside towards the top edge of this black stuff here. As you can see, another car, I think that was Chris Hazlett spinning out. DJ?
Yeah, it was indeed Hazlett there, just a little bit offline as it were. But as we watch these drivers go around here, John Wilson continuing on a streak of relatively good form here. He's in 15th right now. remember, don't read too much into these practice times because drivers often are able to get out early, set a good time, and then not really able to come on in and set more as the race goes along. The practice session goes along, rather. Right ahead of him there, Bobby Hayes Wilson, the lone Canadian in the field tonight, working that car around the best he can.
Yeah, DJ, especially once we get more and more cars out here throughout practice, the track's going to continue to get rubbered more and more in as the night goes on. So I expect to see the line change around a lot as the event goes on tonight.
As do I, but we're going to finally start to figure out who is going to be on top, because that is the end of our practice session. And now it's time to put these cars out on track for qualifying. Austin, as you said, it's going to be 4 laps here. We've seen some varying strategy. We've seen some drivers come in and out at different points. Maybe put a couple of good laps down and then come back out and do another one.
Yeah, I know Billy Northcutt is very, very famous for that. He'll often go out, do 2 laps, see where that kind of puts him on the board, to kind of maybe see where the other drivers are running. Based on our broadcast here, I wouldn't be too surprised. He's a smart guy. To not see him doing that, and then of course he'll come out, maybe do another lap or 2 later. And of course, it's just a fantastic time to practice here because we've seen him practice the whole time. You got a bunch of other cars in your way, as we see Billy Northcutt going to start out high, cut back down low down the front straightaway here.
And as we get those first times coming in, it looks like it's going to be Cody Jones to the top of the pole in that 27. John Hine will be right behind him. Stacy Hunter, Dan Selleck now able to set in a good time. Segala able to come up there in second. A very good run for the 81. Hunter Hill now bumping his way in. Robbie Robinson up into third. Billy Northcutt with his first lap takes the pole position, but still a lot more good drivers to put down times. Jim Revis up into fourth.
Yeah, Robbie Robinson now with a top 5 spot, currently on the board. Jeff Harden, though, not able to put down the best lap. You see guys like Todd Liston out there, too. Here's Bobby Hayes starting to put down a couple of fast laps here. Billy Northcutt, though, top of the charts.
Is indeed, but only by about 6,000ths of a second. Bobby Hayes keeping those good laps coming there. He's only 100th of a second off of Billy Northcutt's best time. I see Todd Liston putting in a time there to come into 14th. We watch Bobby Hayes as he continues to work his way around the track, just going along here as he goes. Seth Castle bumping now his way up into that top spot with a monster of a lap, Austin.
Yeah, quite a large margin, almost a half of a single tenth of a second there. Huge, actually, compared to the rest of these times. Billy Northcutt, though, comes out and actually stomps that lap to put Seth Castle back down into second place. I see Brendan Proudfoot is at least on the entries, so he has made it to the event. Hasn't loaded in quite yet, though.
Yeah, not loaded in quite yet, but he will be here. As I said, he was going to be running up against it. He knew his back was going to be up against the wall. Still waiting for times from Shepard, Hargraves, Kibbe, Best, and Hayes. And as soon as I say that, William Hargraves crosses over the line to go 16th. A very low effort for him. That's not what I would have expected.
Yeah, you can see him right now. He's kind of got a weird slider line going on. I don't expect that to be very fast. He might change it up here, though, in a lap or 2 to kind of do something else. Right now, looking at the 47 car, he's put another lap in, too. You can see, guys just really searching for that grip, especially what William Hargraves is doing. He's kind of migrating his line up further and further as we see J.R. Shepard making a lap.
Yeah, and Hargraves did find that quick line, able to get his way up into third place. J.R. Shepard, who you watch on your screen, is in 10th right now. Still searching around for that grip. We are waiting for Kibbe and Hayes to both pop in and put in a time right now. We'll be talking to Kenny Kibbe later in the race as a new feature here on BGN during our 5-minute warm-up session. He'll be joining us here in the booth. And there goes the occasional commentator up into P5.
Yeah, Kenny putting down a really good lap to put himself in 5th right now. J.R. Shepard only fast enough for about 10th or 11th, but we'll see if he can put in a faster time here. Kenny out there kind of flirting with that low line. See a lot of guys go all the way down there, find a lot of grip. Obviously, I think there's 2 lines right now, either on the top or the bottom of all that black stuff.
Yeah, it's what it's looking like, and it's going to be interesting to see how that develops in the race itself, if that means that we can see a little bit of passing here on those 2 lines, or if it's going to have to be a real force your way past kind of race. Ticking closer here to 1 minute to go in qualifying. If drivers choose to stay out on track, they do have that option, and they can just put down some practice time. It looks like that's what Kenny is doing right here, just kind of working that car around, seeing what he can get. Still waiting for a time for Sean Hayes. But Austin, this is one of the bigger fields we've seen in the Dirt Street Stock Series. 24 cars on the official entry list, with Proudfoot expected to join as well, bringing that number up to 25. That means that we are going to have about 7 drivers going home early.
Yeah, that's right, TJ. You know, it always happens every year as the temperatures get colder. The competition always gets hotter here in BRL. You know, I think it's just a lot of guys, you know, doing real life racing or going to racetracks on real life. You know, as that opportunity to go out there as it gets colder goes away, you know, naturally people want that fix for racing. So they come in here, hop in the sim, have a great time here in BRL.
Indeed, they do. Only about 15 seconds left here to go as we're just in that wait and see period. It looks like Sean Hayes is not going to be able to get out on track. I think all drivers have put in their times. So it does indeed look like Billy Northcutt will take pole position here as the checkered flag waves. But what that's going to bring up is that is going to bring up the first of several heat races here tonight. And in that first heat race, it'll be Billy Northcutt starting on pole with Dan Selleck behind him and Chris Davis in third, Jim Revis in fourth.
Fifth is going to be Joe Segala, followed by Jason Best in sixth. Todd Liston lines up seventh, and Stephen Hilbert is going to round out your 8-car field.
Well, Austin, we talked a lot last week about some of the Australian-New Zealand takeover, and it looks like that's keeping true here with the 11 of Dan Selleck able to get his way into second place position in this first heat. Looking for good things for him. Also, Chris Davis, always a fun one to watch. He'll be starting off in third.
Yeah, these Australian New Zealanders have really jumped onto the scene in full force here, taking a lot of, you know, competition to the front runners. Very excited to see them out here, especially going to take home what would be the pole position. Although I'm not seeing it line up on the screen quite correctly, but yeah, Billy Northcutt.
All right, so as we watch the drivers going around here, Northcutt looks like he's going to choose that interior line. Remember, the leader does have lane choice here in the Bootleg Racing League, so it'll be 2 laps of a pace truck running as the field forms up behind them. I'm also keeping an eye there on the 57 of Jim Revis starting off in that second row. These first 4 drivers can be very, very tough.
Yeah, especially Chris Davis up there too. We've seen him be very aggressive. I would expect for him to make some early moves, some aggressive moves to get up to make sure he's locked into the feature event. Of course, even if he isn't, it is certainly cool to get a lot of good points to win the B main, but it's always a lot nicer to go ahead and make sure you don't have to try.
And there goes the pace truck, and here we are off and racing. It's a good jump for Billy Northcutt. Chris Davis trying to get to that inside line right now of Dan Selleck. Tries to get the power off the corner, but he's not able to do it. Jim Revis smells some opportunity, and he now dives to the inside of Davis.
Yeah, the aggressive driver being almost out-aggressive by Jim Revis there. Obviously, he saw that opportunity inside. It looks to be the faster of the lines right now.
It does indeed. That low line working out well, but Northcutt doing a good job to keep that line up high. We ride on board with Jason Best in the 47, who's had a good run of races recently. Oh, here comes Jim Revis starting to put some pressure onto the number 5 of Dan Selleck. He's trying to get down to the inside here. We are on lap 3 of this first heat race, but it doesn't look like Revis is able to get it off the line.
Nah, he got really, really close, though. Almost got to Dan's inside there down the backstretch. I wouldn't be surprised if he was able to make a move in a couple laps here as you see Todd Liston trying out that ultra-low line, racing with Joe Segala to his outside.
Yeah, that is the battle back for P6. It's a big field tonight, and so we are going to have those big heat races as that is Segala working that higher line, trying to get forced out a little bit by Todd Liston. We keep our eyes focused back on the front here as we cross over with 2 laps to go. Billy Northcutt continues to lead, and Dan Selleck holds on to that crucial transfer position.
Yeah, right now you keep seeing guys square every which way as they go back through the pack. Everyone currently, though, down around that bottom line. It looks to be the place where you want to be, so wouldn't be too surprised to see the rest of the field choose that inside line on all the restarts. But Billy Northcutt's almost running a hybrid line between the absolute bottom. Of course, he goes in kind of shallow, almost like a slider line where he drifts up as they go to the exit.
He does, and that works out for him as he crosses the start-finish line to take victory here in this first heat. Dan Selleck will automatically transfer behind him in second. And there's going to be 6 drivers going home as we check out the official results of that. So those 2 moving on. All right, but we are going to now have to get ready for this second heat race. And starting off in that second heat race, it'll be Seth Castle on pole with Kenny Kibbe to his outside. Cody Jones will be 3rd, followed by J.R. Shepard.
John Hines going to line up 5th, followed by John Wilson in 6th. Stacy Hunter is 7th, and Chris Hazlip is going to line up 8th.
Indeed. So a North American field out here for this one. John Hine, a little bit surprised to see him starting as far back as he is. But Seth Castle, still a relative newcomer. He's been in enough that we've got to stop using that phrase at some point. But good to see him on pole, and Kenny Kibbe to his outside. That's going to be an interesting start for this, Austin.
Yeah, for sure. I'm not too surprised to see John Hines starting in 5th. He's usually a highline guy, so he likes to run up high if he can. So, you know, with all the speed being down low, I kind of feel like John's going to be one of the drivers that comes on really strong as we finish out tonight's event.
I do as well, and you certainly can't count out J.R. Shepard starting off in that 3rd place position. He will be the outside, the inside line being a little bit favored here, but that will for sure make things interesting there for Shepard. Actually, I believe he's going to be starting out in 4th. As we get ready, we ride on board with JR right now. There you can see the view from the 98 machine as the pace truck pulls off. Field goes to Seth Castle's control. Flag is out and Castle is on it. It's a good start. Kibbe able to slot into 2nd as they go. They're side by side in the back there between Jones and Shepard. Ooh, Jones getting very squirrely, and Shepard secures a slot into 3rd.
Yeah, I think what happened there is Kenny Kibbe just decided he'd go all the way down to the inside, so Jones checked up a little bit as to avoid him, and then John Hine, of course, had to check up even more than Cody Jones. That's just going to accordion the field right there, so you can see they're all spread out. Currently, though, Castle, Kibbe, Shepard.
Indeed, and that is the 75 of John Wilson, all over the backside of Cody Jones for 4th place right now, trying to see if he can maybe work a little bit of a higher line. Doesn't exactly look like it's working out for the Canadian, but he's going to keep trying it again, getting very close through 1 and 2.
Yeah, it's really easy to gain a lot of time as they go into the corner with that higher line, but as you can see, he loses a lot of time up off the corner because he doesn't have as straight as an exit as the 27, even though usually you say the high line has the momentum, so they're going to better run down the straightaway. He just can't straighten the car out as he starts to go down the straightaway. So we see John Hine currently fighting for that 7th position.
Very surprising to see John all the way back there. Almost a little bit of a hip check from Chris Hazlip as they work their way through 3 and 4 right now. I think that's going to go to Hine, as that was a little bit squirrely off the corner for Hazlip, and indeed, there it is. But now we should focus our eyes back up to our leader. This is Seth Castle, as he's going to come around here to take the white flag. Kenny Kibbe holding in behind him. J.R. Shepard attempting to mount an assault around the outside, tries to carry that momentum. Kenny Kibbe getting a little bit squirrely, but he's got it locked down. Oh, bang into the wall for Kenny Kibbe. They come through 3 and 4. I don't think that's going to throw Kibbe off too much as Castle runs to the line and takes victory in Heat 2. Kenny Kibbe will automatically transfer as well. Shepard, Jones, Wilson, Hine, Hazlip, and Hunter will go to the B main.
Looks like J.R. Shepard's going to line up 2nd in our B main feature as we go on to the 3rd heat event.
Indeed we do, and in that one, it's last week's winner, William Hargrave, starting off in pole with Bobby Hayes next to him. Hunter Hill will line up in 3rd, followed by Robbie Robinson.
Jason Metoxen is going to line up 5th, followed by Jeffrey Harden in 6th. Garrett Austin lines up 7th, and Sean Hayes lines up 8th.
All right, Austin. Well, we are in the 3rd heat here tonight, and this will be our final heat, it looks like. But what have you learned so far?
Honestly, I've learned you want to be on the bottom. The bottom seems to be key. If you end up racing someone side by side, it's easy to pinch someone off when you're coming out of the corner, so we'll have to keep our eyes open for that. But been a really fun event so far, DJ.
Indeed it has, and in this race, it's going to be very, very interesting to see. There's some good names back in the field and some new names. Joe Metoxen, we haven't seen him for a while. Robbie Robinson, I would expect to see him try to mount a good challenge, but haven't seen a whole lot of passing just yet. But I think once we get a few more cars out on track for that B main, things may change a little bit.
Yeah, I'd just like to make a quick correction here. Even though I did see him in the results tab as if he had shown up, Brandon Proudfoot's still not in the session, so it doesn't look like he's made it here yet. We'll have to see if he comes in the next couple minutes here.
Will indeed, but right now, all eyes fixed to William Hargraves as the pace truck pulls in, and Hargraves is on it early, and that catches Bobby Hayes napping just a hair. Hargraves able to pull a good advantage, but side by side in the back between Hill and Robinson. Robinson working that high line. I thought that car was going to drift all the way out to the wall, but they managed to keep it side by side.
Honestly, even though Bobby got caught out there by William Hargraves in his early start, it didn't end up working out so bad for Bobby because he's able to slap back into the bottom there. That's where you want to be right now, as we see still Robinson and Hill fighting behind them.
And Robbie Robinson, really the only driver out on track that we've seen been able to make that high line work as they dive their way through 3 and 4. He's carrying some good momentum there. Hill, a little bit squirrely there, coming off of that lower racing line, but both drivers making their respective lines work well.
Yeah, you can see right now, Robbie just wants Hunter to overdrive the entry of the corner so he kind of gets up into that black stuff so he can use the grip on the outside. So you can see right now we're looking at Sean Hayes here in that number 09.
Exactly, Sean is currently in 7th right now as they work their way around. Keeping our eyes on this battle, we are at the halfway point here in this 3rd heat race. Here they go again, diving down into the corner. Robinson, maybe this is a little bit of an indicator for some other drivers out on track on how to make this line work.
Yeah, right now you can see Robbie's just using that upper part of the grip until he can pull in front of Hunter Hill, and then he can kind of go wherever he wants. Looks like he wants to choose the middle of the track, but we'll see if he goes all the way down to the bottom. Looks like he is, just kind of barely rolling right as that black sub starts before it gets really rubbered in as we go to the white flag lap here.
Indeed we do, and up front it continues to be the man who won last week, William Hargraves. Bobby Hayes is going to be able to follow him behind in what looks like a pretty sure thing for P2 right now. Indeed, they come off the final corner, and bada bing, there you go. William Hargraves takes victory in this 3rd heat. Bobby Hayes will automatically advance out of P2. Robinson, Hill, Hardin, Hayes, Metoxen, they will all be back in the B main. And we are getting a programming note. We're actually going to have a C main here tonight, Austin, so changing things up again. Now, out of this, it looks like that the top 6 will automatically advance to the feature.
Yeah, of course, that would make sense. We've had 3 heats so far, so that would be, you know, together 2 cars from each, 6 cars together. Of course, 18 minus 6 is 12. So, yeah, top 6 from each. I am getting word as well. Brandon Proudfoot has connected, so we'll see if he gets to line up in either of these C mains, or excuse me, last 2, you know, feeder events.
We will indeed, and with 6 cars advancing, that'll hopefully help Proudfoot's chances to be able to work his way up towards the field. But we got to focus on the C main for now, and in this C main, it'll be Jim Revis lining up in pole position, followed by Robbie Robinson, Cody Jones will be 3rd, followed by Jason Best, then Jeffrey Hardin and John Hine, Todd Liston, Jason Metoxen, and Stacy Hunter.
Really interesting here that we've had a C main for the 2nd week in a row. This should be very interesting to see what kind of drivers can advance. I kind of like this format because it means we get a lot closer racing, and honestly, it's twice the amount of racing for the fans, so I see this as a win-win, DJ.
I do too. I really, really like it, and it definitely gives you a little bit more of a chance to be able to sink your teeth in, building up to that main event.
Really interested to see who's going to end up making an advantage here between Robbie Robinson or Jim Revis. Obviously, you kind of got to think Jim Revis, given he gets to start the race whenever he wants, but Robbie was really fast in that high line, DJ.
Indeed he was. So here we go. There goes the pace truck, and Revis is on it early, off to a good start. I think that may have caught Robbie Robinson napping a little bit. He's going to get pressure on the inside from the 27 of Cody Jones. Jason Best trying to work that outside line the best he can.
It did, yeah, but look who's on the absolute top line right now. It's going to be John Hine, that number 21 car. You can see he's the highest car on the track, running right up against that wall. That's where he's most comfortable, folks.
He is indeed, and running that line will allow him to be able to get up into those transfers.
Contact actually between the 2nd and 3rd place cars of Jones and Robinson. You can see it there. It was he rode on board with John Hine. That's actually going to force Robinson and Jones back further to the field. Hand over 2nd position to Jason Best, the number 47 machine.
It is indeed, and that's going to put Robbie Robinson a bit of in the danger zone as he'll be in 5th place position as they work their way around. So he does not want to lose anything off of that. John Hine looking like he's losing a little bit of time, but we are side by side here between Cody Jones and Jeffrey Hardin.
Yeah, I think John got checked up a bit as the two cars collided. Robinson was kind of in his lane for a lap or two. Right now, it looks like he'll be able to make the field if he keeps up this progress. But yeah, you can see these cars currently all over the track, just looking for that grip as we're focused in on this battle between Hardin, Jones, and Robinson right now for what's going to be P3. Just up ahead of them, though, P2, Jason Best.
Jason, we talked about him before, putting in some very, very good runs as of late. This little trifecta of drivers continues to battle out. Hardin looks like he's able to pull away a little bit here as we get ready to cross the line with 3 laps to go. Robinson dodging down to the inside, throws a little bit of a slider there on Cody Jones, and he will be able to lock down that 4th place position.
As we see this battle slow down, I'd like to look at the battle for 6th there between Liston and Hine. Todd's doing a great job on the bob against the Professor John Hine, one of the best drivers on dirt. John's just barely going to clear him, so he's going to take the inside line. Looks like to still be the fastest line. I guess John was mostly going where the other cars weren't as he wanted to make up as many positions as he could. So right now, Hine will advance and Liston will be the first car to go home.
I was going to say, Austin, that is the crucial position for John Hine, but he has got to be 6th or better to be able to advance automatically to the A main here tonight. Whoa, big wobble from behind from Todd Liston. That's going to throw him off cue. Give him a little bit more breathing room up front for John Hine. As we follow here, Jason Best in 2nd, Jim Revis in 1st. Revis comes out of turn 4 to take the checkered flag and advance to the A main. It'll be Revis, Best, Hardin, Robinson, Jones, and Hine advancing.
Unfortunately, the first drivers to go home tonight are going to be Liston, Matox, and Hunter. So very unfortunate for them as we get ready for our B main event.
We do indeed, and lining up on the pole of that B main, it'll be J.R. Shepard, followed by Chris Davis, with Hunter Hill in 3rd and John Wilson in 4th. And Joe Segala rounds out your top 5.
6th is going to be Sean Hayes, followed by Chris Hazlip in 7th. Stephen Hilbert's going to line up 8th, and Garrett Austin lines up 9th.
All right, Austin. Well, we saw that high line working a little bit there for John Hine. Do you think anybody else is going to try that out, or is the low line still going to be what rules the realm?
Honestly, I have to look at what John Hine did halfway through the race. He was in the high line, then he cut all the way back down to the bottom, so I feel like the bottom is still key. If I were J.R. Shepard, I'd definitely stay right there. Crucially, though, I do not see Brandon Prout in this B main lineup, so I'm kind of curious as to whether or not he just might miss tonight's event altogether, even though he did show up.
Well, that is going to radically change this championship standings here, and unfortunately for any of these drivers in this B main, that doesn't really affect them too much. But it is the same format as last time. It is going to be the top 6 advancing. Got to keep our eyes open for that. But right now, we're going to keep our eyes focused on this leading duo, J.R. Shepard and Chris Davis. Shepard choosing the inside line as the pole sitter. He waits for that iRacing pace truck to pull off into pit lane. There it goes. Waiting for Shepard to go. He's a little bit late, but there he's on it. He is going to pull out there. He's got clear of Chris Davis. Davis tries to work it onto the high side to make things work there. Behind him, Hill and Wilson going to go side by side with Segala poking his nose in there as well.
Yeah, if I'm J.R. Shepard right now, my best friend is Hunter Hill to make sure he can get down behind me and force Chris Davis to use that outside. Of course, not as fast right now. Hunter almost there, tries to squeeze a little bit more throttle out of the car, ends up getting a little bit too sideways and ends up handing the bottom back over to Chris Davis, who's right on the heels of J.R. Shepard. So we're looking at this battle for what should be 4th or 5th right now, DJ.
We are indeed, and that is Sean Hayes in that 09 machine, really diving down on that low line, trying to get something on John Wilson, who currently sits in 4th place. Oh, big contact in the back. I believe that was Hilbert and Hazlip.
Yeah, look to be those two cars. As you can see, the rest of the field kind of just scamper off. I don't think they're blocking the track right now. These leaders are going to have to keep an eye out for it because, of course, there are no cautions until we get to the feature event. It doesn't look to see any of the cars are out there. I believe Hazlip went all the way up over the fence, so it shouldn't be a problem for these guys right now as they're still looking back into the field. As we can see, the first battle right now going to be for 3rd place between Hill and it's going to be the 09 car of Sean Hayes. So really side by side, a little bit of a bobble there for Hayes as he tries to almost go into the high line and take out Hill. Fortunately, though, for both drivers, he was able to remain in control of his vehicle.
Was indeed, and Joe Segala, who rides right behind them as we ride on board with John Wilson here, he's working on that little intermediate line. He's got good breathing room because that means with the accident that we saw, the bottom 3 here, Austin, Hilbert, and Hazlip, all involved in that incident. They've got a big enough gap for Joe Segala. He should be able to coast into the game A, but we keep our eyes focused on this battle. Wilson trying to find something lower on Hayes in front front of, or on the 09, Sean Hayes in front of him, not really able to make it work, but now he's got a little bit of a battle with Hill, who we ride on board with.
Yeah, Hill's trying to use that outside line to his advantage. Of course, he can't possibly get back in behind John Wilson right now. The best opportunity he has is to try and just roll that high line, see if he can make a pass here. These guys are already locked into the main feature, like you mentioned, DJ, but right now he's fighting for a little bit more points. Also, just a hair better of a starting position. He passed one car here, it's going to be a 2-car starting position in the main event.
It is indeed, but there is your leader in this B main, J.R. Shepard, as he crosses the line to take victory and advance into the A main. Chris Davis, Sean Hayes, John Wilson, and Hunter Hill, as well as Joe Segala, will all advance with him.
Unfortunately, though, Austin, Hilbert, and Hazel will be the 3 cars going home early in tonight's affair, and Brandon Proudfoot. So huge, obviously, change for the points standings here, DJ. I believe we get the chance to do a warm-up here. This is very crucial for those drivers that started tonight's event, obviously, winning their heat races like Castle, Northcutt, Hargraves, and Selleck.
It is indeed. We're going to jump away real quick, but when we come back, we will have the last stages of this warm-up as well as a little chat with Kenny Kibbe before we get into the A main. Welcome back to Lanier. We're about a minute into this warm-up session, and we have here with us in the booth one of our sometimes commentators, Kenny Kibbe. Kenny, how's the track driving out there tonight?
It's slick, man. It's tough. Going to be a lot of throttle management tonight. I expect the bottom lane to be pretty dominant. You might see some guys move up to the top to experiment, but it's tricky. Going to be a driver's track for sure.
Do you anticipate a lot of ability to pass at all, or is it looking like it's going to be pretty much you got to muscle your way by?
You might have to do a little bit of muscling, but I think the key thing is going to be to not make mistakes and capitalize on other people making mistakes. So it's going to be pretty low-line dominant, but you'll see some passing tonight for sure.
Well,
Kenny, we've seen you be so dominant here, especially on the pavement side, of course, helping out the likes of J.R. Shepard, myself even, in our Grand National competition. What are your keys to victory, you think? Mostly just staying on that very bottom? If someone makes a mistake, it's pretty much the only way past them, or are you allowed to kind of get a better exit off the corner, maybe get to their inside?
Yeah, you might see some passing. If you get on a restart side-by-side with somebody on the high side, you might be able to pinch them off and get a good run off and make a pass that way. But I think the key thing is to mainly be on the bottom or the middle of the track. Don't make mistakes. Keep your car as straight as possible, and pounce on other people's mishaps.
Well, Kenny, we'll let you get back to warming up. Thank you for joining us here in the booth. That was Kenny Kibbe, one of the drivers who you will see tonight in the A main event. And Austin, as we look at these A main times, we've got some good names at the top. Billy Northcutt looks pretty strong around here. Castle, Shepard, Hargraves, Wilson, all the way up into P5.
Yeah, you can tell, as we get later into the event here, as Kenny said, it's going to be a driver's track. You can really tell who's better than other drivers at putting that throttle down. It's really hard to put the throttle down when you're riding on the inside because you're going to have the wheel torqued more to the left. It's harder to get a good run off the corner. The car is just going to want to snap around as you go to exit. So a lot harder to put the throttle down when you're on the inside. Currently, the fastest guys are the best at it. So if I imagine a Proudfoot route here, obviously, he's the best driver on dirt all around, but one of the best. Certainly putting that throttle down smooth and minimizing the wheel spin. As you can see, that's one move I expect we'll see here tonight. If someone does get to your inside, it's very easy to pull the over-under on them like Chris Davis did there. Just a quick crossover as you come out of the corner. Of course, still got to complete the pass, but this is one of the most famous tracks for that crossover move here, DJ.
Indeed it is. So it'll be fantastic to be able to see who can pull that off in perfection tonight. And just to keep a look there, Kenny Kibbe, after talking to us, we must be a good luck charm because he's all the way up to P3, Austin.
Yeah, Kenny really likes driving a loose race car. Part of being able to drive a loose race car fast is being able to put that power down as slow as you can, but as fast as you need to get a good run off the corner, but of course not spinning your tires. And folks, we weren't showing him for that entire time he was talking to us, but for the first couple laps he was out there talking to us, he was putting down pretty consistent fast laps. So obviously a lot of brain power, not just to drive the car, but to have a conversation with us.
Yeah, it just shows you just how good some of these drivers are out here today. Really impressive to see all the way around as we tick down in the final stages of this warm-up, and we are ready at last for the A-Main here at the Lanier Raceplex in this round 8 of the Bootleg Racing League's Dirt Street Stock Series, brought to you by Gargamel's Kitchen. Drivers are now ready to grid up, and we are ready to bring you that grid. Lining up in pole position for this race, it'll be Billy Northcutt, and to his outside, it's Seth Castle. William Hargraves will line up P3, followed by Dan Sedlick, with our own Kenny Kibbe in 5th. Bobby Hayes will be 6th, followed by Jim Revis in 7th, and J.R. Shepard in 8th. Jason Best will line up 9th, and Chris Davis rounds out your top 10.
Jeffrey Harden's going to line up 11th, followed by Sean Hayes in 12th. 13th is going to be Robbie Robinson. 14th is John Wilson. Cody Jones is going to line up 15th, with John Hine lining up 16th. Joe Segala going to be 17th. Excuse me, I had that a little bit wrong. Cody Jones 15th, John Hine 17th, and Joe Segala in 18th.
Well, and the biggest name missing out of all of this, you saw it and you mentioned it, Austin, Proudfoot not able to grid up. So that is going to be a massive change for the championship standings. But now it's time to go to the question we always ask at this point in the broadcast. Who you got, Austin?
Honestly, I'm going to go with Kenny Kibbe tonight. I feel like Kenny's got a really good shot. Obviously, he's not starting the best out of all of our competitors, but I feel like he's going to be pretty strong here regardless.
Well, my pick tonight is going to be the easy one. That's going to be Billy Northcutt starting out on pole. I think Billy knows what's at stake here. If he is able to take a win tonight, maximize the points, he will be able to pull in to that final 3 races within striking distance of Brandon Proudfoot. So that will be what we watch for, but he's got to watch out for guys like Castle, Hargraves, Selleck, your pick, Kenny Kibbe, and other guys down through the field. But Billy Northcutt is going to be down to the inside as the iRacing pace truck pulls off here, and all eyes go to Billy Northcutt, waiting for the flag, and there goes the flag! Here comes the thunder at Lanier! It's a good start there for Billy Northcutt. He's able to get ahead. Hargraves already being aggressive down to the inside of Seth Castle. Behind them, that is the number 5 of Dan Selleck. Looking, trying to do anything. Hargraves continues to be aggressive. Kenny Kibbe now down to the inside of Selleck.
Yeah, Jim Revis really trying to get to Kenny's inside there as it went through turns 3 and 4. He got really close to getting that inside call on Kibbe. Fortunately enough for him, though, he didn't get it. You can see they're still locked in a battle for second place. It's going to be Castle and Hargraves right now in that 71 car. Looks like J.R. Shepard just hit the wall there, getting word from Daniel.
He did indeed. He is locked in a battle in this Hornet's nest.
Oh, car turn around. That's going to be the 5 car. It hits the inside wall pretty hard. Going to be a large check up to the field. Caution is out.
That was Selleck. I caught it out of the corner of my eye. I'm not sure if that was over rotation or if he had a little bit of help with that. But one way or the other, we have our first yellow here tonight.
Have to get a better look at that here as we go to the BRL replay on the Virtual Grip Network.
Indeed, so watching the 5 card here. This is Robbie Robinson.
That's coming into your screen right there. Looks like he might have gotten contact, maybe some over rotation from that number 90 car.
Indeed, as we continue to watch here. Just
okay, you know what it was? He just got a little bit too far up the track to the 90 of Seth Castle. I think Seth thought he was a little bit further down, so they just kind of bumped front axles, and it forced the number 5 of Dan Selleck to just barely over-rotate a bit, and unfortunately, Robbie Robinson just had nowhere to go. I was just going to say that, DJ, all these cars on the bottom line like that, you know, if somebody makes a mistake or slips up or one guy spins on the inside, you're kind of forced to go wide. If you can't go wide fast enough, you're just going to end up hitting them. You saw that there.
Indeed, but the field is now bunched back up because we are ready to go back green again. 3 laps in the books. Remember that yellow flag laps do not count. There they go. Northcutt getting another good run. Not as good as last time, though, as Hargraves now starting at his outside is putting some serious pressure on your leader.
They're still going to be almost 3 wide behind him as they are for a split second between Kibbe, Castle, and Revis as they go down to the backstretch into turn number 3. Now only 2 wide between Castle and Kibbe.
Really fighting it out here as they go. Kenny Kibbe trying to work on that high line as you can see him all the way around. Kenny Kibbe has a good run on Seth Castle. He's got a nose to the outside.
Kenny's doing a really good job in that high line, especially given how dominant the low line is. I'm not sure if this is Seth just making a couple mistakes every now and again, but Revis obviously there to capitalize on either one of these drivers to make sure he can put himself in P3.
And don't look too close behind, but that's J.R. Shepard also keeping an eye on that battle, sitting back there in the popcorn position as these 3 continue to duke it out. Good defense there from Seth Castle, planting that car in the middle of the track to prevent Kibbe or Revis getting on by. Shepard now starts to poke his nose to the inside, trying to look for something on Kenny Kibbe. Kibbe's able to carry momentum around the high line.
Yeah, you can see, even though Kenny was doing a really good job as soon as we got done on the caution there, almost able to hang with Seth Castle. Of course, he's losing a couple spots here as the run goes on. Obviously, that second move, not quite as fast as the first. You can see, though, almost to Kenny's demise, the guys to his inside kind of slide up the track a little bit to try and reduce the amount of speed he's getting. So you can see right now we're looking at Joe Segala currently battling with Cody Jones.
This is for that last place position right now. Segala running low, Jones running high. We check up the field a little bit more. A nice little battle going on here. That is the 21 machine. The 36, that's Hardin, and the 09 of Sean Hayes. So a nice little battle shaping up there in the back.
Yeah, they were 3 wide there for a second. John Hine obviously not ready to go with that bottom line quite yet as we look for this battle for 5th position here between J.R. Shepard and Kenny Kibbe.
Indeed, this has just continued to rage on here with Kibbe running the high line. Jason Best now starting to get a little bit interested as these 2 slow each other up a little bit. That's the 47 of Jason Best behind, poking his nose down on the inside.
Yeah, Kenny right now, he's just trying to stop the bleeding and riding in that high line. Obviously, all the grip is down low. That's where you want to be, but Kenny can't quite get down low because every time there is an opening, there's always some driver that's going to get there. He's kind of had the opportunity to kind of duck down low in the last couple laps here, but of course that would just put him back to 6th position. So really want to have that odd number starting spot. So honestly, as we see another wreck, it looks like that's John Hine in the middle of that bunch.
I believe it was indeed, and that's going to bring out our second yellow. It was Hine and Hayes we are hearing, Austin.
Yeah, word from Daniel Handover up in our production booth. We're going to have to get a replay of this to see just what went on here.
I have to check it out. I think it was just a little bit of incidental contact, definitely catching out a few drivers, including the 75 of John Wilson. Yeah, it looks like the 09 there just slipped up the track a little bit. Big thunk to the front of the car for John Wilson there. He was an unsuspecting passenger.
Yeah, fantastic camera angle from Daniel in our production booth. You could just see John went to the corner, the number 109 car, 09 here. Sean Hayes just got a little bit in there, a little bit too hot, over-rotated John, spun him out, and of course the entire field kind of got caught up behind him. You can just see barely a tap there, maybe not net code, looked a little bit too close to be net code, but it's really hard to tell where the right front of your car is in these cars, DJ.
Yeah, it's one of the hardest things you can do, especially if you are not running VR around here. But we focus back up here. Hine going to be able to get back out and underway. Pace truck pulls off. We're ready to go green as Billy Northcutt gets on the loud pedal. Castle trying to make a little bit of a move to the inside of Hargraves, but Hargraves had enough of it. But that is going to be Jim Revis trying to work on the high side. They're coming off of the corner in a nice little triangle.
Yeah, you can see the field just all over behind them right now. You want to be on that bottom, so I wouldn't be too surprised if Billy was able to make a little bit of a mistake here and for Hargraves to get back to his inside. Oh, wow. Yeah, J.R. Shepard must have hit the outside wall pretty hard. Crab walk in that car, incredibly hard as he goes just to try and complete a lap here. It'll be a hard challenge to make that hard left turn down pit road as there's still green just in front of him right now.
Yeah, they are indeed, and I don't know how many drivers actually know that. As we watch the 27 and the 09 right now, that is Hill, Hayes, a good little scrap going on there. Great.
J.R. Shepard actually in the middle of the field right now. They're going to swamp him. I guess he couldn't make it all the way in there before he got lapped by the field again. He's just trying to make sure he can get to pit road without causing a caution. He's just trying to get out of the way, but of course he can't stop on track because that'll bring on a caution. You bring on a caution when you're not supposed to. It is a penalty here in BRL, so J.R. Shepard just trying to do his best.
He was able to get down to the inside, thankfully, and so he is now in pit lane. We watch here a hornet's nest in the back. That is Robbie Robinson and I believe Jeffrey Harden as they work their way around. Right ahead of them, that is Dan Selleck in the number 5. Robinson trying to work the low line, Harden holding on high.
Right now, you can still see that bottom line's where you want to be, but as the track slicks off, especially on the bottom, that middle line starts to become more and more competitive right now. As you can see, Harden trying to hold off Robinson. Hunter Hill even able to put a good run on Joe Segal. Looks like he's kind of using that wall for a bit of a cushion at the center of the corner, but Joe doing a great job tonight. He's missed the last couple feature events, but putting on a great show now.
Indeed he is, and all you can see there from the top side view, that is Wilson, Jones, and Hine all riding around behind the big damage to Jones and Hine's machines as they go. This is that battle with Harden and Robinson. Harden looking like he's holding it out. Selleck able to pull away from it a little bit, but this squabbling has allowed for Segala to catch in a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. That's one of the hardest things to deal with around here. Even though it's going to slow you down, you still think you're faster than the guy you're fighting with, so you try to stay ahead of him as much as you can, but you can see that's just going to kind of force the battle between Robinson and Segala to now start, as Hill says, hey, I'd like a piece of that action.
He does indeed, and you saw Segala try to poke his nose down to the inside of Robbie Robinson and just not really having the space that forced him to check up. That allowed for Hunter Hill to get involved in that action, but Hill looks like he's falling back. Now trying to go low on Segala.
Yeah, right now, battles all over the track, especially as you go up and down through the field, though. This is currently the most side-by-side battling we see as the two lines differentiate between. As you can see, the 09 of Sean Hayes, the 75 of John Wilson, Hunter Hill trying that high line as well right now.
Well, it's a little bit about what you talked about in some of the heat races. You may just have to try to go where the other drivers are not, and that looks like it's what Hayes is doing. Oh, but Hayes gets into the wall. That's making contact with Cody Jones as they go into 3.
Yeah, Cody Jones just there, got a little bit of the side of Sean Hayes. I'm sure these two drivers just trying to give all they can to make sure they can get as good a run as possible, though. Right now, through most of the field, they're all single file, just kind of going around, kind of buying your time right now. We've got 17 laps to go, 16 as they go by the line right now. These guys are all just kind of size up their competition. Currently, the running's going to be Northcutt, Hargraves, Revis, Castle, and Kibbe rounds out your top 5.
Indeed it is, and they're all pretty much lining run nose astern. We look back here, though, on the battle with Chris Davis. That's Bobby Hayes trying to chase in on him. A little bit of a wiggle there off of the corner for that number 7 machine, but he's able to keep everything nice in line. Hayes trying to carry a little bit more momentum, going a little bit higher than Chris Davis, but Davis looks like he has that covered.
Yeah, you can see Hayes gets a really good run into the corner, but of course that overspeed means he has to use the high line or at least go a little bit higher than Davis. And of course, you can't pass the guy like that unless you run through him, so you kind of have to run a little bit of a different line. But the problem is, just behind him is going to be Dan Selleck in that number 5 car. You have to imagine if Bobby makes even a small mistake, he's going to get to his inside and take that position away. As we look at the front 5 cars right now, in the battle for second between Hargraves, Revis, Castle, and Kibbe.
That was Jim Revis taking a very low exit out of turn 2, I think trying to put some pressure onto William Hargraves. You know, Austin, this is starting to shape up like a lot of road races that we see, where you often talk about the mental game that these drivers play, where they have to try to crowd the mirrors behind of the other drivers and make it as hard as possible to focus on the road ahead. I'm getting the sense that that's what a lot of these guys are attempting to do on a track like Lanier, where it's getting a little bit harder to pass.
That's exactly right, DJ. In fact, across the street from here, one of the most famous road courses in America, that's going to be Road Atlanta, course, home of the Petite Le Mans. Just happened in real life last weekend, and of course in iRacing it was the earlier part of October. It
was indeed, but we watched this nice little three-way fight. That is Jim Revis leading Seth Castle and Kenny Kibbe holding up behind. Top 5 here, all just running line astern. We take down under 10 laps to go. If, knock on every piece of wood you have, we get a yellow flag at this point, we'll restart single file. There's John Wilson, and I believe that's Hunter Hill up on the high side. Hill continuing to run high here as they duke it out for 13.
Yeah, he's just kind of what we call pushing the cushion right now, just riding that cushion around the wall. You can see where all the dirt's packed up against it. Kind of looks like a little bit of a hill that hill's on right now. Kind of just helps stabilize the car. Of course, it's easier to put the power down. You get a lot of momentum coming up off the turn, so it's an easier line if you can pull it off. Of course, it's not able to ride on for everyone. Just, you know, kind of takes a little bit of a different skill set.
Indeed, it does. John Hine also there in the back working his way around trying to do that. But here comes Hill now trying to cross things over to the low side on John Wilson, diving that number 12 car down low. But I think Wilson's going to be able to carry that momentum off of turn 4 rather. And indeed he does. We only have 7 laps to go though. So if they want to get these moves done, they've got to get on it quickly.
Yeah, interesting to see that John Wilson right now is just kind of using that lowest part of the grippy stuff just above that blacked in part of the track where it's rubbered in. Very slick there instead of going all the way up to the wall like Hunter Hill has just done. Currently, though, just to update you folks at home, the top 5 still running as they were before, all single file. Jason Best, though, catching Kenny Kibbe at quite a good rate. I don't think he'll be able to get all the way there as we go 5 laps to go.
Indeed, and as we have seen here tonight at Lanier, it is one thing to catch, it's another thing to pass as Hunter Hill goes back to that high line on John Wilson, trying to make it work the best that he can. Oh, you can see how close they're getting there into the wall. And there, as the leaders come around, Billy Northcutt still leads from Hargraves, Revis, Castle, and Kibbe, your top 5. Not a lot of breathing room in between these top 3. They are starting to pull a little bit of a gap back to Kessel.
Yeah, Castle and Kibbe, of course, locked in a fight. As you can see, though, it looks like Dan Selk was able to get to the inside of Bobby Hayes right here. Of course, they're going to be battling for 8th position. Just in front of them, though, is Chris Davis. I think they're both a little bit faster than Chris, but, of course, they can't make a move on him because this track is very single file. Chris is going to go a little bit higher on the track right here. We'll see if Dan can get a good run.
Doesn't look like he's able to do it, but he is able to hold off on Bobby
Wow,
Hayes.
they were super close going into the corner. It looked like the 5 of Selk was going to get spun out by the 13 of Hayes. White flag out, though.
White flag out for Billy Northcutt, as there you see that is going to be William Hargraves attempting to make one more maneuver on him before they come to the checkered flag. Only 2 more turns to go. Hargraves diving it down deep. Northcutt just has to hold on for one more corner. He's going to drive it off of 4, and Northcutt takes the win here at Lanier. William Hargraves will finish behind him, and Jim Revis will round out your podium in that back battle that we were watching. Dan Selleck was able to get that position over Bobby Hayes and hold it out.
Yeah, quite a battle here all the way up and down through the field. Very cool, though, to see that high line kind of prevail for a couple laps, and each of the drivers just kind of choose their own line as we finish off tonight's event. 4th is going to be Castle. Kenny Kibbe's going to round out your top 5. We'll get you the whole finishing order here in just a moment.
We will indeed, as we get ready to pull all of that up for you. As we said, the final, this is unofficial, just still taking a look from the stewards, but Billy Northcutt able to take the victory here today. That's going to be crucial for the championship. William Hargraves will finish behind him. Jim Revis, Seth Castle, and Kenny Kibbe in your top 5. Jason Best finished in P6, followed by Chris Davis in 7th. Dan Selleck was 8th, with Bobby Hayes 9th and Jeffrey Harden in 10th.
Robbie Robinson brings home his number 56 car in 11th place, followed by Joe Segala in 12th. John Wilson comes home 13th, followed by John Hine in 14th. Hunter Hill is going to finish off tonight's event in 15th, followed by Cody Jones in 16th. Sean Hayes finishes 17th, and J.R. Shepard rounds out our 18-car field.
He does indeed. But we have here with us in the booth our winner tonight. That is right, Billy Northcutt taking the victory here today at Lanier. A dominant victory. Billy, this has got to feel good.
Oh, yeah, man. That felt better than you could imagine to get out there. And I came out and I was kind of on a mission, and I just qualified first, won the heat, was fastest in warm-up, and led every lap of the feature. I don't do that very often. And but I told you guys last week I do like this track a lot, and I hate to see that Brandon didn't make the race, but you can't help but try your hardest to take advantage of an opportunity like that, to have him not out there, you know, pushing you. So I saw an opportunity and tried to take it the best I could.
I was actually going to ask you that, of how much was that championship weighing on your mind tonight, getting into the A main, realizing that Brandon wasn't there. Was that affecting the way you were driving in terms of just, I have got to win this race?
You know, I came out into this race just like hoping to have a good race anyway. I mean, I've had some good finishes. I'm in second in points, but I haven't had a win yet this year, and I've got 3 wins now in this league, and 2 of them have been at this track. So I came in with pretty good confidence. The only way that was really going to affect my driving is if I was being pressured. I probably would have gave up the lead a little easier than normal and tried to make sure I got a good points day. But the way it worked out, I had a teammate behind me, and I had a little bit of a lead stretched out. There wasn't a ton of cautions, so I was able to just drive my race like it was an afternoon out on the road. You know, there was no lap cars to deal with. It was about the easiest drive that you could hope for as a leader in a race.
Well, that has got to feel very, very good. 2 weeks' time, obviously, we're taking some time off for Thanksgiving next week, but we head to the dirt track at Charlotte. Do you think you continue your winning ways, or are we going to be duking it back out again?
Oh, you know, my other win did come at Charlotte. So, I mean, I do like that track. A lot of that has to do with qualifying, though. I mean, I'm not the most aggressive driver in the world. I like to be the cleanest guy around, so it's hard for me to come through a field, you know. So we'll see how I do in qualifying. This win is enough for me for the season, so the rest of the season I'm just going to be doing my best, and if I get another one, cool. If not, I'm not really too worried about it. I try to get just at least one win a season, try to slip in there.
Well, you got it for tonight. Billy, anybody you want to thank for this win?
I want to thank Lowell for putting on this league. It's a great league. We have a lot of fun in here. Everybody respects each other. You guys know that. Thank my teammate William for being behind me in that race and never touching me or anything. He didn't try any dive bomb moves or anything. I wouldn't expect it from anybody in this league, but you always have to thank people because I've had plenty of races that you do get smoked on those. But I just think everybody involved with this, my family and friends that watch, my Dirt Panda teammates, you guys for broadcasting. And I just want to say congrats to William on second, Jim on the podium. Seth Castle had a great race tonight too. He started up there on the front row and didn't fall back, so good run for him. And Kenny thought he was broadcasting tonight. He comes away with a top 5 instead, so that's awesome.
It is indeed. Thank you so much, Billy, and congratulations again on your win.
Thanks.
That was Billy Northcutt, your first place finisher here tonight. And now, Austin, I believe you've caught up with William Hargraves, our second place finisher.
Sure have. William, got you on the Virtual Grip Network, man. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, man.
Hey, dude, congratulations on that P2 there. Obviously following your teammate there to the podium. First off, tell me about your race, man.
Yeah, it was just pretty much riding there for the most part, I guess. At the start, I had to race Seth pretty hard to overcome that second spot, get that from him. And then, but once I got by him, it was pretty much just riding. I tried about every line I possibly could think of to throw at Billy there to see if I could gain or if I was losing or whatever. And there was just nothing there to be able to overtake him. So, yeah, what do you do? I mean, second's all right, I guess.
Well, of course, obviously we race so clean in this league. You're not going to put the bumper to anyone, especially not a teammate, in your Dirt Panda Racing. So, the bottom line, like you said, so dominant. Did you have anything for him if you were going to restart in that top line? If you could, for instance, get to his door, do you think you could have pulled it off?
Well, on the second time that I restarted there on his outside, I got a really good start. And actually, the first time I did too, he just... when we went into one, he got his rear end out there just a little too far for me to come in where I wanted to, and so I backed off on that one. But on the second time, I got a real good pull on him on the outside, and I didn't let him come up like he had been there, but it just wasn't enough on the outside to overtake him.
I gotcha for sure. Well, regardless, a fantastic run. Dirt Panda 1-2. Is there anyone you want to thank for your run tonight?
Yeah, I'd like to first off thank Lowell for putting this on for us. Also, I got to thank everybody in this league, like you mentioned, the kindness, the respect, the clean racing. It's a one-of-a-kind league that I personally haven't experienced much of that on iRacing itself. You guys for doing the broadcast, you guys do a hell of a job every week, week in, week out. I love it. I got to thank all my Dirt Panda Racing teammates, Wild Bill's Race Designs. Billy does awesome wraps on these cars. I got to thank Melm Electric, Blue Sky Builders, and then all my family and friends for watching the broadcast. And unfortunate for Brandon not to make it tonight. I know that'll tighten up the points like you guys kind of mentioned, and it might be a good end to the season.
Yeah, shoot indeed, for sure here. Thank you so much for your time tonight. Congratulations. Again, I believe DJ has caught up with our third place finisher, Jim Revis.
I have indeed, Jim. You started a little farther back in the field, but fought your way up early, and then it just kind of looked like you were planted there in P3. So you got to be pretty happy to walk away with the podium here.
Oh, most definitely. Happy to walk away with a podium anytime with any of these drivers here. Starting P7, making it back up to P3, with the crowd that's in here, I'm not going to complain a bit.
How hard was it to really get going there? Obviously, as we saw this track slick in, it just looked almost impossible to pass. Were you just focused on running your race, or were you trying to maybe find a way by?
Mostly, I was just kind of focused on running my race and racing the track. I did throw it in there a couple times on William just to make him nervous, letting him know I was back there. But all in all, like I said, it was just racing your own race and running the track and trying not to break the tires loose.
Well, we may be in store for a slightly similar race for what I've been hearing for some other folks when we head to Charlotte in 2 weeks. Can we expect to be talking to you again?
I hope so. I was glad to be back in here talking to y'all again. I was starting to think I won't go get to talk to you guys anymore this season.
Well, we're very happy that you were able to, Jim. Anybody you want to thank for this third place run tonight?
Yes, sir. Gotta give a shout out to Ryko Motorsports for coming on board. Evil One Graphics, Junk Fabrication, Beehive Media, iRacing Dirt Painters, iRacing iFlag, and Thunder Ridge Racing, man. You gotta give a shout out to them.
Well, thank you, Jim. And once again, congratulations on the third place run here tonight.
Yeah, thank you guys, and thank you for broadcasting. Always great listening to it.
We are more than happy to do it. That was Jim Revis, your third place finisher here. But folks, that's about going to wrap things up for us here. But before we go, we would like to once again thank our sponsor for tonight's event, Gargamel's Kitchen. Visit their office at 2045 South Valencia Street in Denver, Colorado, or go ahead and give them a call at 720-707-6178. On behalf of Austin Belkey, Daniel Handover, and the rest of us here on VGN, we'd like to thank you for joining us here tonight at the virtual Lanier Raceplex. The next race for this Dirt Street Stock Series, well, we mentioned it already. It's going to be at the dirt track at Charlotte, Friday, December 3rd at 7 p.m. Eastern. That's right, we're going to be off for a week for Thanksgiving here. But the next race on the channel, you don't have long to wait for, because it'll be tomorrow night, Saturday, November 20th at 8:55 p.m. Eastern, as the BRL Grand National Series heads to the paved version of Lanier, the same track you saw here tonight. Well, we will be back for that race at Charlotte. This has been a production of the Skidder Creek Motorsports Group and the Virtual Grid Network. Until we see you on the track, thanks for watching.